This is the African Files. Join us on a journey through the untold stories, forgotten histories, and incredible experiences of Africa and its diaspora. From unsung heroes to remarkable events, we'll delve into the rich tapestry of African culture and history. Today, we're going to explore the incredible true story of a slave who risked everything to escape the bonds of slavery and save her son. Let's dive into her remarkable journey. Eliza Harris was born into slavery to parents of African slaves around 1820 in Kentucky. She grew up on a plantation, forced to work long hours in the fields. As a slave, Eliza was subjected to harsh treatment, separation from her family, and the constant threat of being sold. In 1838, Eliza's owner, Mr. Shelby, fell into debt and was forced to sell some of his slaves. And she found that she and her only child, Harry, were to be separated. She had buried 2 children and was doubly attached to the one she had left, a bright, promising child, over 2 years old. When she found that it was to be taken from her, she was filled with grief and dismay and resolved to make her escape that night if possible. She watched her opportunity, and when darkness had settled down and all the family had retired to sleep, she started with her child in her arms and walked straight toward the Ohio River to freedom in the north. She knew that it was frozen over at that season of the year and hoped to cross without difficulty on the ice. Eliza's journey was treacherous. She traveled through the night, facing freezing temperatures and the risk of capture. She still continued her journey, but when she reached its banks at daylight, she found that the ice had broken up and was slowly drifting in large cakes. She ventured to go to a house nearby, where she was kindly received and permitted to remain through the day. She hoped to find some way to cross the river the next night, but there seemed little prospect of anyone being able to cross in safety, for during the day the ice became more broken and dangerous to cross. In the evening, she discovered pursuers nearing the house, and with desperate courage she determined to cross the river or perish in the attempt. Eliza strained forward as her legs churned beneath her, the underbrush tearing at her long skirts. The small boy in her aching arms whimpered, sensing a danger he couldn't see. "Hush, Chile," she gasped in a whisper. "Mama's gone, keep you safe." Eliza dared a quick glance behind her. She could see nothing of the slave catchers who'd found her hiding place, a house near the Kentucky side of the Ohio River. She'd slipped out the back door and into the woods as they approached the front, but they would surely guess her run for freedom, and their long legs, unencumbered by skirts, would quickly bring them close. Eliza dared not slow her pace toward the northern side of the river, where she and her baby had a chance to be together, finding the ice broken up into mammoth chunks, drifting slowly on the current. With a prayer on her lips, Eliza made the choice to cross anyway, jumping from ice cake to ice cake. Sometimes the cake on which she stood sunk beneath the surface of the water. Then Eliza would slide her baby onto the next cake and pull herself on with her hands. Soon her skirts were soaked and her hands numb with cold. But Eliza felt God upholding her. She was confident he'd keep them safe. On the northern bank stood William Lacey, one of those who watched the river for escaping slaves in order to help them. Time and again he thought the river would take the woman and child, but she miraculously reached the bank, heaving for breath and weak from cold and exhaustion. He assisted her up the bank. After she had recovered her strength a little, he directed her to a house on the hill, in the outskirts of town. She made her way to the place and was kindly received and cared for. It was not considered safe for her to remain there during the night. So, after resting a while and being provided with food and dry clothing, she was conducted to a station on the Underground Railroad, a few miles farther from the river. The next night, she was forwarded on from station to station to a house in Newport, where she arrived safely and remained several days. Other fugitives arrived in the meantime, and Eliza and her child were sent with them by the Greenville branch of the Underground Railroad to Sandusky, Ohio. They reached that place in safety and crossed the lake to Canada, locating finally at Chatham, Canada West. In Canada, Eliza built a new life. She worked as a domestic servant. Eliza's story inspired many, including abolitionist writers like Harriet Beecher Stowe, who featured Eliza's escape in her famous novel, Uncle Tom's Cabin. Eliza Harris's courageous escape from slavery is a testament to the strength and resilience of enslaved people. Her story serves as a reminder of the brutal reality of slavery and the importance of continued efforts towards equality and justice. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the African Files. If you liked this video, please subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. Join us next time as we explore more fascinating stories from African Files.